bodies and local things, right? Like planes
Okay,
or
so it's
cars
different
or
when it's
anything like
celestial.
that. Yeah, it gets different when we're talking about celestial, because when it comes to the way that we view the sky, we're seeing like the celestial sphere, and it's called the personal celestial sphere. That's what everybody has, their own unique personal celestial sphere. This is even something that's taught in the globe model as well.
Wait, you call it a sphere?
Yeah, it's a conceptual way, like because we see
It's idiosyncratic, right? Idiosyncratic. I don't know how you say the word.
yeah, it's
It's
more of
ecological.
it's more of a hemisphere. It's more of a hemisphere of vision due to the way our perspective works. It's
I
not
was,
really
I
a
was going
full
to say
sphere.
idiosyncratic. I think I don't know if that's the right word. Oh, or
Well,
ecological.
like let's say we go out. It's a byproduct of perspective. It's the way we view the sky or things in the sky, right? Let's say we went out into the ocean in a canoe, and we went right out into the ocean, and all we can see is water around us. Now, the maximum distance that you can see in every direction is going to be the same distance, and if you plot that out, that's going to make a big circle around the observer. So the horizon is going to be a circle around the observer. Now, let's say a plane flies over the top of us, right? Like so we see the plane come up from the horizon due to perspective. It's going to go up into the sky. It's going to go over the top of us, and it's going to go away from us in a big arc over the top of our head, right? The same thing would happen with streetlights or the ceiling in a hallway. It's just due to the way that perspective convergence works. Now, if you plot, say 360 planes fly over the top of you, directly over the top of you, one each degree, right? 360 degrees, and you plot that out. Just imagine the path of the planes. That's going to make a big, like a dome over the top of you, essentially, right? Like each one's going to take an arced path. That's how we see the sky. That's how we see the clouds. That's how we see the stars. That's how we see the sun, right? So it works just fine on a flat plane. It's just the way we see. And the ancient cultures, even before anyone suggested that the Earth's a globe, also saw the sky this way. And they're the ones that originally came up with the concept of the celestial.
Is there like a diagram of how they saw it this way? Because I didn't. I mean, I was like pondering on the thing you just said about how the ancients saw the sky as a what? Is it like a picture, like a diagram of what they saw or believed or something? I don't know.
Yeah. They have their own depictions. I've got I do have a diagram here that shows what all of the ancient cultures depicted. Now, obviously, these aren't models; these are depictions. So just give me a second. I should be able to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
Here we go. Yeah, so here's some of the ancient cultures depictions. Right, these are a bit
Yeah.
The thing is, this is the way we see the sky. It doesn't mean that the sky is actually a sphere at all, right? The celestial sphere's a conceptual way of mapping the sky out, because that's just the way that we see things. When things are vast distances away from you in the sky, and you look around in all directions, it looks like a sphere, right? Next time you're out and it's a cloudy day, or there's clouds in the sky, just look around you. It looks like you're standing in the center of a big giant dome. And it's not actually that you're in a dome or anything like that. It just looks that way because that's the way our perspective works, right? Due to the way that our eyes work, things converge into the horizon, right? Just like like street lights are a good example. If you look down a street and all the street lights are the same height, it looks like they go down. It looks like they converge into the ground, even though they don't actually do that. It's just a byproduct of our perspective. So when we see the sun go away from us, right, it's already a very large distance away from us. So we're seeing it rise and set within our limited field of view that we all have. It's a bit to wrap your head around, I guess, at first. Maybe I'm not explaining it that well.
No. I already understand it. It's just the only issue I had when I first came in is just I said, like, you know, the same way objects would get bigger above us. I was just wondering the sun and moon should have done that. But the setting thing is fine. I'm fine with that. It is true. Something can look like it's setting just because it's getting further away. It's just when it goes overhead, that's just the only problem I have when it's going overhead, because it should at least look like it's getting a little bit bigger.
Well, have a look at this image, right? This is kind of what I was talking about before.
Yeah. Yeah.
with the right. So here's two balls, right? These balls are the same size. They're glowing balls. Okay,
Is this
so they're
yours?
two different. Sorry?
Are these yours?
No. I got these out of a video. It's just some screenshots I took.
Okay.
So this is two images, right? So the top image is a separate image to the bottom two balls. Okay, so this is what I was talking about before. Now these balls are the same distance apart, but the top image is representing how our local perspective works, right? Like if something's close to you, it looks huge, and then it moves away and it gets smaller. But when the person stands up, right, the two balls are still the same distance apart from each other. But now the reduction in size due to perspective completely changes.
Yeah.
So if these balls were even further away, right? Just say this person was double the height, the size of the balls is barely going to change at all. So when things are already really far away from you, the size is going to change much differently than if something's really close to you.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
sure.
I wouldn't expect the sun to change size much.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Is
how is the sun going over us to make it look like it's not changing in size, and how far away is it exactly in your view?
Yeah. Well, I also think that the sun that we see in the sky is we're kind of seeing it projected into the atmosphere. When I say let me give you an example, because I don't mean it's like a projector, right? It's not like some movie projector or something like that. Right. Here's just a really basic example. This screenshot. Okay, so what's happening in this picture is he's actually put a sheet up in front of the light source, and in the video, so basically what he can see there kind of looks like the sun, how someone would see the sun, and it's kind of projected onto the sheet, which would represent the atmosphere in this situation. Now he's looking at the sun from his position, and he can see where the sun is, right? But he doesn't know how far away the actual source of the sun is. He can't work out what size it is or anything like that. He's just seeing the sun projected onto the sheet.
Should the projector get bigger?
Should it get bigger?
No, not the actual thing itself, because you can have a torch behind it from any distance, and the projected image can stay the same. It's just
exactly.
If he was to have a big sheet, right, and he put the torch 3-4 meters away from him, and then had someone walk over like a ledge, holding it down on the sheet above him, it should look like it's increasing in size or getting closer as it goes above him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, right? So let's say that this was like a dome over the top of him, this sheet. And that sun, you wouldn't know how far away the actual source of the sun is. Just the point here, it's not related to the first point. This is just how the sun that we see in the sky can be treated like an apparent light. So the sun that he's seeing there isn't the actual sun. It's a projection of the sun. Now, that could be a giant torch, right? That's projecting that light, and it could be really far away. Or that could be a small torch that's very close behind the sheet there, and he wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's going to look the same. Now, his wife's standing on the other side of the room, and in the video, right, he points to where he can see the sun, and then she points to where she can see the sun, and they're both looking at the same light source, but they're in completely different positions, right? So they mark on the sheet. They're like, all right, I see the sun here. Where do you see the sun? She's like, well, I see the sun here, right? Completely different location. Both of them can only see one light source. It's all coming from one light source. Neither of them know exactly where the light source is, but they're, and I think that's analogous to the way that we see the sun. Everyone sees the sun in a slightly unique position, depending on their own perspective.
Yeah,
because the sun behaves a little bit like a reflected light more than a direct source of light.
Right. Wait, how come
sometimes we see
reflected light?
Well, the same reason that this in this image here, right? Just like the sun that he's seeing projected onto the sheet acts more like a reflected light than a direct light source. Otherwise, they would both see the light in the exact same spot. right? Like if this was an actual torch, right? Let's say there's a torch there and they remove the sheet. They're both going to point at the light source. It's going to be in the exact same position. No matter who looks at it, they're going to see that all of their fingers are going to go to the exact same point light source. That's a direct light source. But if there's 5 different people standing in this room, every single person's going to see that light that's projected on the sheet in a completely different position. And think about it like this. When you stand at the ocean and the sun's setting, or the moon's shining on the water, you can see like a line reflecting on the water of the sunlight, and it's going to come straight to your feet. And sometimes it's quite bright enough to see things with that are in the path of that sunlight shining on the water. But that's only there, right? Only you can see that light. Nobody else can see that light that you can see. Now, someone could be standing 20 meters down the beach from you, and they can't see your light, and you can't see their light, but you both have light coming directly to your feet, right? And that's the difference between a direct light source and a reflection, a reflected light source. So it's like the other person can't even see it lit up, right? Just like his wife in this one, in the test, right? She can't see where he can see the sun, and he can't see where she can see the sun. They both have a unique sun depending on their own personal position. So the sun and the moon, these things are seen in the sky, and they behave a little bit more like reflected light sources than direct light sources. And we know that we have an atmosphere, and there's also a lot of unknowns up in the sky, right? Let's say there was some kind of container, some kind of firmament. Now, I'll just post a different example quickly.
Yeah, I know I've said this many times. I don't want to try to annoy you, but I know the example you gave about the reflection and how it's projected. That's good, yeah. It's just that even if it's projected, I still keep thinking that, let's say there's a like a big film above us, and then there's the atmosphere, what you call it. Hold on. And then the projected light goes over us. I just think that when it's when it's like at the distance away from us and then above us, it should still look like the projected light is going to look slightly bigger because it looks like it's local, a bit closer to us, right? Even though I just keep thinking that, like, I can't wrap my head around how it looks because I'm trying to like visualize the actual sun itself and how it's going over. But it only works when I'm looking at the globe turning around. You know what I mean? You know where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. It does take a bit to wrap your head around. But yeah, you're purely seeing it going down due to the way your perspective works.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's going down. I'm just talking about when it's above, like directly above.
Yeah, right. But it might be, right, the source of that light might be a really, really long way away. Right. So it's and you're
also, if it's a long way away, it won't look like it's actually changing like a bit. Because even on the globe Earth, right? Even on the globe, when the sun is directly above you, even at the equator, you are closer to the sun just by like. You're still closer to the sun in a sense, because you know what I'm trying to say. When you're at the equator, you are closer to the sun. When you're in the northern hemisphere, so then you're further away. But it's like so atomic. Well, I'm not saying
far away.
I'm not saying actually verbatim atomic, but you know what I mean. Is that what you're trying? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. If something's already really far away from you, and it just let me give you an example, right? So yeah, good point bringing up the globe, right? I bring that up sometimes. So the same thing happens with the globe. So let's say you're standing at the equator and you're watching a sunset. Now, what they say is that from your perspective, the sun's not moving, right? So you're on the globe that's moving. So you're spinning away from the sun at about 1,000 miles per hour. So as you spin away from the sun and you're looking at the sun, so you're spinning backwards away from the sun, you're moving a huge distance further away from the sun, but you don't see it reduce in angular size.
Exactly.
And they say the reason for that is because it's already a very far distance away. So it's the same principle here with this. But we do see it change a little bit in size. It does change a little bit, right? So if we use a solar filter, just a little bit, like 0.5%, something like that. So if we use a solar filter and we take a pixel measurement of how big the sun is when it's directly above head as it comes down, and then we put a side by side when we see it close to the horizon, it is actually a bit smaller, maybe even slightly close to what we can see in this glowing balls second image that I showed you here, maybe a little bit less than that. right? Because it's more of a drastic change in size. But yeah, that's what I would expect to happen on a flat surface, and it is a bit to wrap your head around this dome perspective that we
yeah. Actually, no, it's fine. I don't need to wrap my head around it. It actually makes sense now because I kept forgetting to bring up the point about the equator and the northern southern hemisphere kind of concept and the pix, the 0.001% change, like by exaggeration in size.
Yeah.
But this apply. When you say that the atmosphere is like a film that, and it's all projected onto it. Is that the same for the sorry? Is that the same for the moon and the stars, right?
Yeah, everything that's outside of that, that it's actually an arbitrary size, right? So let's say you've got all of these distant objects; they're so far away from you, and you see the sky like this half dome, right?
If something's already, we have two Dylans in here. What's up, Dylan? Thank you, DJ.
Hold on. Yeah, good to see you, Dylan. And Dylan. It's always at least two Dylans in here. But yeah, look, I can give you a.
We spit hot fire.
Yeah. So look, I've got some diagrams here of the way that we see the sky from our personal perspective. These are actually from university websites as well.
Yeah.
So just
I can see the moon right now. It looks pretty beautiful. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah. I could probably see it too. Actually,
I'm in GMT time zone in England, so I mean it's.
I'm in Poland, so I could probably see the moon too if I look out.
It's like not far above the horizon. It's just a bit, and it's kind of a yellowish white because it's not that.
What's
low
the time
down.
there? It's 1 a.m. here. What's the time there?
Like 12 a.m.
Oh, yeah. So you're 1 hour behind.
Yeah, it's literally right there between two pine trees.
All right, check this out. Right, so this is how you would see the sky from the equator.
Oh yeah, like Quito, Ecuador.
This is anywhere on the equator. You'll see the sky kind of like this. And now, if you were to move closer to the north, the way that you see the sky is going to change. So let's say we go further towards the northern hemisphere, and here's another diagram. So it's going to look like as you get closer to the North Star, it's going to get higher up in the sky. And this is basically, exactly as we see the sky. We're supposed to treat ourselves as always standing in the center of this dome, and to treat the ground as a flat, infinite plane. And then that dome over the top, that's not a physical dome. That's an arbitrary dome, right? The distances are arbitrary, so there's no set distances.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm looking. Even Polaris kind of moves in tiny circles when you're closer. That's the thing when I'm trying to say, like, even... This is completely, like, off the point, but I was going to say, because you mentioned Polaris, it kind of... Even if you're, like, directly in the north, like, at the North Pole, it will still move in tiny circles. That's like it pertains to like how the globe, like the Earth, is actually on an axis and it spins like a bowling ball. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what the globe was created from. So the globe was actually reverse engineered from this celestial sphere, from the way that we view the sky.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So if you look at a model of the celestial sphere and then a model of the globe, it's basically the same thing. Right, the celestial equator became the terrestrial equator. Celestial poles became the terrestrial poles, and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's essentially what the globe is. It's a coordinate system based off an imaginary sky coordinate system. Right, like if you type in to Google,
it's just that when they made the system. Oh, yeah, go on. Okay, I was going to say when
type this in. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say when they made the system, how come they didn't like appeal to the flat Earth model instead and just say that, okay, look, this sun is getting further away. It's not actually the Earth turning. Why didn't they do that at first?
Well, there probably were a lot of people that had that concept. I mean, they didn't have a great understanding of the way that our perspective works back then. They didn't have good technology. And I mean.
But what made them
based off? Well, I don't know. The first, I don't really trust mainstream history personally, but the story goes that long before the ancient Greeks even proposed that the Earth could possibly be a globe, the ancient cultures, right, like the ancient cultures that were obsessed with the sky, the people that made the pyramids and all of these temples and everything perfectly aligned with the celestial sphere, that were flat earthers, right? They came up with the concept of the celestial sphere first because they needed a convenient way to map out the sky, because they used it for navigation and for all sorts of different things. So they came up with the concept of the spherical coordinate system for the sky. Then people like Plato came along. Pythagoras. So Pythagoras was kind of like a cult leader. I don't know if you've heard of the cult of Pythagoras, the Pythagorean cult, but they basically worshipped numbers and spheres, and they thought spheres were the most divine shape. And he reasoned that because we conceptualize the sky as a perfect sphere, therefore the divine creator must have created the earth as a sphere, because why would the divine creator have created it anything other than the perfect divine shape? And then other people took this philosophical leap, right? This philosophical reasoning, and they kind of ran with it. And they took that conceptual celestial sphere, and then over time they did invert it, right? They inverted the coordinate system from the sky onto the ground. And that's still the same coordinate system that we're using to this day, which is now called the WGS84. And all of the maps that we use are projections of this spherical coordinate system that originated from the way that we conceptualize the sky, right? And that's why I was just typing into Google, is the celestial sphere imaginary? And it says, yes, the celestial sphere is imaginary. It's an abstract tool, because space objects are scattered vastly different, unimaginable distances.
Space objects
and
not a
blah, blah.
sphere. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's not actually a sphere, but these ancient Greeks did think that there was a physical glass sphere. And even Copernicus, 1,000 years later, right, he thought that there was a big giant, like some different type of glass, not like the glass we have here on the Earth, right? He thought that all of the stars were embedded in this big giant glass sphere surrounding the Earth. And they took this spherical coordinate system and they basically reverse engineered it into what we know the globe as today. So I don't think that there's a big grand conspiracy personally. I think it's a very, 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 very useful coordinate system, mistaken for reality over time. And that's why it's useful, right? It's useful and we can use it. But when we go out and actually physically test the surface of the Earth, we don't find any curvature, because coordinate systems aren't reality. Maps aren't reality, right? The map is not the territory. So when we go out and test for the actual curvature of the Earth, we don't find it. We're just using a coordinate system based off the sky. That's it's well thought out. It's useful.
Sorry, are you talking about those those laser experiments that you've been conducting?
Yeah, laser tests, long distance observations.
Yeah, the thing is, look, I've heard a lot about those laser tests. I just thought like they weren't conducted properly, and that these people who are so-called professionals weren't really, when they were using them, they weren't really conducting. There was a website there was these multiple websites. I forgot what one of them was. Let me have a look. I'll show you. Give me a sec. Laser test. Laser test. Where is it? It was like it's not Flat Earth WS. It was another guy. But there is a website called Flat Earth WS. Yeah, West something. Yeah.
Yeah, Mick West. He's not a professional, right? He's a video game designer. He made a bunch of money for making Tony Hawk Pro Skater, right? He makes video games. So he's a professional at making, video games. Okay, he tried to debunk Dr. John Dee, who is an actual academic, right? He's a scientist. He's got a PhD in optics, specializing in spectrophotometry. And he was a globe earther that went out trying to debunk flat Earth. And he's public. He's public with his email address. He encourages anyone to go and debunk his tests, contact him with any questions, and to go and reproduce these tests. Nobody's been able to debunk him. Mick West tried to do it, and Dr. John Dee has some great videos where he goes over the debunks, right, that Mick West tried to do. Metabunk.org is Mick West's
I was just on
website.
metadebunk.org. There was another one though. There was
Like
a PDF. It had like a WESS on it. I'm not sure what it was called, but it was another website, not Flat Earth WS. Not. It was like Wes something, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, but there was a PDF and it had all of these like mathematical equations on them showing how like the laser tests were misleading or whatever.
But how can they be wrong, Sleep? Because like if I shoot a light over a
I don't know.
over a
I'm
long
just saying like a
no,
bunch
but
of people
I know,
said
but
this.
just tell me, if just to try to explain to me or even yourself logically, how could it be wrong? Because all it is a light that we're seeing where we shouldn't see it. Like how can you do something
I thought they were
wrong to
wrong.
make
I thought
that
they were
happen?
like could be wrong. It's because like when you have a long laser beam going out and you just move it accidentally by like a nanometer, it can like completely change the end of the other side, or like it can.
But how can that mistake make it's like so? Okay, explain it to me like this: if you've got a hill, can you make that same mistake, make the laser go round the hill?
What?
If there's like
That's a good
hill,
point.
right? Yeah, yeah. Like, can you make that mistake and curve the
What, like a laser to wrap around a hill in a circle?
Well, that's what you're basically saying is they made a mistake and it caused it to do that.
No, I'm not saying that this is it. I'm just saying like I don't know. I like if this is like a challenge for between me and you.
The rebuttals, right? There have been rebuttals that have been attempted to be made by anti-flat earthers, but they're actual junk, right? They're not good rebuttals. And this is essentially what they're saying, right? This is what would have to happen if the Earth's a globe. The laser would have to go bend perfectly around hundreds and hundreds of feet of curvature to hit the target, right? Not just a little bit. It would have to bend hundreds of feet. And then we do the test again in different conditions, completely different refraction conditions. And then we hit the target again. And then we do it again and again and again and again in all of these different locations using different lasers, different spectrums of laser beam, completely different refraction conditions. And we're getting hit after hit after hit. And their only excuse is to say that the laser is just bending perfectly around the curvature, hugging the curvature of the Earth to make its way to the target. It's a really crazy claim, right? And none of these people have any laser tests or long distance observations of their own, right? Where they've actually taken their own advice, right? And taken these things into account and shown that there is actually curvature. It's just when we go out to test for the curvature, it's not there. Now, Bar made a really great point just a moment ago, right? So let's say that we have a lake and it's 40 kilometers across the lake, right? In between me and you, there should be essentially a hill of Earth curvature, and that hill should be about, let's say, at least 50 meters high, right? Like a big hill, like a 50 meter, huge hill, right? There's no way that I could shine like if there's a hill between me and you, it doesn't matter if I tilt the laser up, tilt the laser down, tilt the laser straight, it's not going to hit you. It's not going to make it to you. It's not going to bend around the hill and get to you. But they're claiming that there is this divine refraction that somehow is guiding the laser beam to the target.
Is that what they say? That's the divine refraction that's actually doing it?
No, I'm mocking it by saying divine refraction.
No, not the word divine, but do they say it's a refraction that's making it perfectly curved to the end?
Yep, that's exactly what they say. That's the only rebuttal as well.
That's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, they're relying on people's lack of understanding of science and math. And, like you said, there's a bunch of mathematical equations there. A lot of people just want to find something that will give them an excuse to not have to recognize the obvious truth that the globe is a complete failure and does not represent the world where we live. So, some people will just look at that website and say, there's a bunch of math there. They said flat earthers was wrong. Cool, I can go back to sleep. Other people who actually want to examine the evidence using a critical mind and use actual logic, math, reason, who don't accept emotional arguments and logical fallacies will realize that their model is a complete failure. So, it just depends if you're interested in finding out the truth or if you'd prefer just to stay in comfortable delusion and keep consuming propaganda. Choice is yours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there was just all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
To me, I mean, everyone has different experience with what they've been researching in their life, what their goals are, so on and so forth. My original goal, as just like DJ mentioned about Dr. John Dee, was to disprove flat Earth. That was an actual research paper I was writing for my graduate degree, was how to counter students' misconceptions that allow them to believe what they're seeing on Twitter in the year 2015 from these rappers and stars who were saying the Earth was flat. So that my goal was to carefully and logically explain to young students, physics students in particular, why they were wrong about flat Earth. So my goal was
Wait,
to
you were
do
a
that.
teacher?
So yeah. So when I first saw, I don't know what you've been looking at, but to me, the thing that after I looked at different physics forums and saw some different questions being raised, what concerned me the most was when I saw what was being promoted as the argument on the other side and seeing how it was full of emotional appeal, logical fallacies, propaganda techniques. Like, there were no legitimate academics disputing the flat Earth claim. I didn't even find one. If you found one, let me know, because I still haven't found one, and it's been over 10 years now.
I don't know. I would only say, like, because I don't know much about the polemic in the debunking the flat Earth with the equations that they use, like the website, and then there was that PDF I forgot the name of. I know it had like a Wes on it, but there was a PDF. I only know by like the rest of the space agencies and the recent mission to around the moon. What we pretty much rely on, and then you can see like space stations. I know you guys say some have balloons on satellites, but some don't, and all that kind of stuff. But like the Apollo mission.
Yeah, so you have to believe the NASA propaganda, even though they're
I follow
their agency. Yeah.
I follow like SpaceX, and I follow like other ones like Chinese. I forgot what the name was, but I don't just follow NASA. There's many.
Yeah, whatever
The
they call
European
themselves.
Space Agency is one of them.
Science,
European.
the cut rate science fiction agencies who put out stuff that's less believable than Hollywood science fiction. Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, so you'd have to believe that over your own eyes. You'd have to believe that over your own lived experience on the Earth and things that you could go out and do for yourself. Like the thing, like what DJ's talking about. I mean, you might not be able to do a laser test, but you could easily do a long distance observation. Many people do, and show for yourself. It's not a matter of, I think it was you that mentioned, nanometers, is there an error, or whatever. No, and then Ba and DJ, I believe, said, no, we're not talking about small errors here. We're talking about hundreds of feet of missing curvature at a distance that you can observe with your naked eye. You don't even need any special tools to see that this curvature that should be there is not there. You can just see it with your eyes. And if you have binoculars, a zoom camera, it makes it even easier. You can do it at even
I was going to talk about
lower
cameras.
distances. Yeah, what about cameras?
So I was gonna ask DJ this. Like how cameras, you can zoom in using camera, and like the specs and the optics of the camera. You can zoom into an object to actually know how far away it is based on the camera. And then some people do that to zoom into the sun, and then they say, "Oh, look, yeah, NASA was right. It's this far away," because they zoomed all the way, and then they see a sunspot and blah blah blah, and then they say, "Oh, well, because this camera zoomed in at this rate, then yeah, the sun is this far away, and it's a ball, and the Earth is a ball."
That's not quite how they do it, but I mean, the sun.
I'm just summarizing.
The moon.
I don't know how they do it.
The sun and the moon look the same size in the sky from our perspective. So
that's weird,
I could zoom in. I could zoom into the center of the sun. Right. I could have this is my 16-year-old Panasonic camcorder, I could zoom. It had 63x optical zoom, and I could zoom into the sun where all I could see was the sun. I couldn't see any space or anything around the sun, just sun. I could do the same with the moon, right? Because all it's doing is just magnifying what you can see in the distance. It doesn't help you gauge the distance or anything like that. And
Don't
that's
you
not
think
how
it's
NASA
quite
claims
strange
to
how the
know
sun and the moon
difference.
look like they're the same size in the sky? Like exactly the
Yeah,
same
the
size.
odds the odds of that happening is insane, right? Like in the heliocentric model, just by chance they say that the sun is 400 times larger than the moon and 400 times further away, and they just so happen to look the same size. I don't know.
Maybe God did it.
But just quickly,
that way.
I do have to go in a second. But just have a look in the side chat. I posted 3 pieces of footage from NASA. Right, look, can you see those?
Oh yeah. Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
All right, look at the top one, right? That's meant to be the Apollo 16 lunar module docking with the orbiter. I mean, the second one's supposed to be from Apollo 17. That's supposed to be the astronauts leaving the moon in that thing, right?
Oh
And
wait,
then the
sorry, I
next
didn't scroll
one
up all the way.
is
I see it now. Yeah.
it's
I thought
just
there was only 2.
yeah, it's really, really crazy, like terrible looking footage. And the main thing is, like, they could easily trick you with this footage, right? This could have just been done in a studio. It's not like it's some amazing footage. And then the footage from the other space agencies is even worse, right? Like the Indian Space Agency, etc. Right? The European Space Agency's never even been up there, so I mean, we don't have to worry about them. But you look at the Japanese footage, the Chinese footage; it's just ridiculously poor, even compared to this poor-looking NASA footage. But just recently, we had the Artemis, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, it was Artemis. That was recent. Yeah.
And people were pissed. People were so pissed that the footage looked so terrible from Artemis, right? They thought that they were going to get like high definition 4K footage of the Earth rotating from space. If you think about this, right, we can zoom in on the moon with a
We
$500
just decided
camera,
to take a picture and
and we
that.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, and we just got some really, really crappy quality pictures from Artemis to the point where we could spend 5 minutes in a seat in ChatGPT and make equally as good looking footage, right? So my point is they could easily trick you. Like if I post this in the side chat here, right? One of these is from NASA, from the Artemis mission, and all of the rest of them were just made in ChatGPT. And you wouldn't even be able to tell which one's the NASA one. Because yeah, if you want to take a guess, you're more than welcome.
I mean, it's definitely not the one in the middle because that's too far out. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of blurry. Maybe the one on the bottom right? Maybe? No, it doesn't look like it. Nah. Because the African continent looks a bit too exaggerated. I would say either probably the one on the... I mean, I could reverse image search it, but probably the one on the bottom right or the one near to the left that shows Antarctica. I don't know.
Right. So it's actually all right, let's narrow it down a bit. Right? Do you think it's this one or this one?
Okay. I think it might be... Let me have a look. What the hell? It could be, the bottom one, maybe. I was gonna say the top,
Right.
but
the bottom one looks a bit better, right? Because it's ChatGPT made. NASA's one's not that quality. But,
yeah, I was gonna say the top one
yeah,
because
so
it looks like NASA quality.
right, crappy quality. But the point is, it's very difficult to tell, right? We can't really tell. We could just use free AI, right, or free CGI software, and if they wanted to trick you with these types of imagery, right, they could easily do it. And a lot of people were pissed that the footage that they gave people was so limited and so crappy quality. Now, with this next one, right, same deal. One of these is from NASA, and the other 3 are from a free software called Terragen, where it just generates territory, basically. So can you tell once again which one's from NASA?
Probably the one that is in the top right. Well, I don't think so because
Right.
I've never seen something like that before. Maybe it's probably like I don't know because the NASA doesn't really show
we can't
things
tell.
once.
That's the point is we really can't tell with any of these, right? It could be any of them, could be none of them, right? These are all just made in Terragen. None of them are from NASA here in the last lot that I posted, right? Just the point is, I'm not trying to trick you. I'm just pointing out that you know, they could, if they wanted to be lying to you, you know, they could easily lie to you. And I don't think that there's a big deception where that NASA's trying to cover up the flat Earth. Maybe there is, right? But I think that they lied about the space race. They lied about going to space. And most people probably believe that the Earth's a globe. That's just my personal opinion, right? Most people believe it's a globe that worked for NASA. They probably think that NASA's not lying about anything, and maybe a small amount of people are in on it. But yeah, you know, like the point is, it's all faith-based evidence when it comes to NASA stuff, when it comes to SpaceX stuff. I mean, when Elon said he sent the Tesla car into space, right? The footage was absolutely ridiculous to the point where even Elon said, oh, you know, he admitted that it looks fake. He said, oh, you know, we know it's real because it looks so fake. If it was fake, then we have way better CGI, blah, 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 right? Strange thing to say. But yeah, you know, a lot of this stuff could easily be faked. And there's huge money in it, right? The space industry is worth more than the movie and the music industry combined. There's big money here, even NASA. For NASA,
I mean, they're using
NASA's getting
huge amounts of money for Starship. I mean, why would they do that for no reason?
Well, even just generally, like just general funding, they get taxpayer money, $60-70 million a day, every day. And, you know, and then we get images that could easily just be CGI, for all we know. Okay. So, I mean, that's why we like to stick with surface, you know, things that we can actually go and test in reality. Like, for example, here's a crazy, awesome picture. Well, actually, I won't post that because it's 30 megabytes. Hold on a second. I'll just link it from my server. So this is a laser test, but this guy has taken a side view of the laser. This is actually a really cool. So I know this guy's name's Lanolin, and he spent about $40,000 setting up his experiments in Alaska on these big giant frozen lakes. He made a documentary, really cool documentary, but here's some of his footage. And this is a side view of the laser test. So not only...
Give me a sec, hold on.
Right, it's just should be in the side chat there now. It's a pretty big image, so you can zoom right in on it. But I mean, he's got the laser 3 foot.
All right. 3 foot. Oh wow, that is a big image. Shoot. Oh wow, that is clear. I like that.
Yeah, it's a really cool image. And this is a side view of a 6-mile laser test. And he's got the laser just 3 foot above the surface of the lake, of the frozen lake. And we can see it just hugs the ground. It just goes perfectly along the flat ground. And he has another one that's 12 miles. We can see 12 miles of the laser, and it's hitting the target. Yeah, this would have to be a huge amount of curvature. Right, we would have to see the laser bending physically around the curvature of the Earth.
Is it possible to conduct a 130-mile one?
Well, the military has access to these types of laser beams that are able to travel this far. And if you see a guy called Yoda in here, he's studied the military laser tests, and they don't help the globe either.
Why? What happened with the military?
If you talk to Yoda, he'll explain all of the military stuff. I haven't had a chance to study the military observations yet, but basically, they did huge distance laser tests, and the current atmospheric model didn't work, and the results weren't what they predicted.
Okay,
but I don't want to butcher it, right? So I know that there was ones done by the United Nations called the Sapphire tests. And they were doing laser tests using all different types of like infrared lasers, and they spent a lot of money. I think that they're using it so they can make sure that their laser targeting devices that they use for military purposes are accurate, right? So they go out and they're testing for the geometric horizon, they're testing for atmospheric refraction, and all of that kind of thing, because they need to be very accurate when they're designing their long distance combat weapons, right? And their laser targeting devices and all that kind of thing. So they go out and, they basically have an unlimited budget, so they have the best quality stuff. And they went out to try to test, they say, okay, so at this distance, the geometric horizon should block the laser, and then they couldn't work out why they were able to see so far beyond where the cutoff point should have been. It's called and they ended up saying it's cursed. The test is cursed because they couldn't find the curvature of the Earth that should have been there. But once again, Yoda's a military guy. He's studied these tests in depth. I need to have a better look at them. So maybe another time when we talk, I'll be able to go over them in detail. There's a ton of tests. Basically, every time tests get done, we're not finding any curvature.
Yeah, that's sad. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, you too, man. I got to head off too. It's super late here, but I appreciate the conversation.
No problem.
Catch you next time.
You too. See. Dandelion, what grade were you teaching physics?
Last time I taught physics, it was high school. They were mostly 11th and 12th graders.
Okay. If Earth's flat, I'd be sad because I can't go to the moon.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to go to the moon.
Well, I mean,
But
I was going to.
yeah.
Voluntarily.
Yeah, there's no verifiable or believable evidence that anyone's ever gone to the moon. That's actually, it's much easier. I think it's easier to just demonstrate that the Earth is flat, that there's no globe. Like, that's so easy, not even funny. But in terms of what it's easier to get people to accept emotionally and psychologically, there's a large number of people who have researched extensively all the extremely flawed evidence regarding our supposed moon trips. And, many, many people who are not flat earthers recognize that there's absolutely no way that we went to the moon at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think we did?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I could find you some information about it if you're interested in.
I just keep on thinking that the whole moon landing thing is just conspiracy theories that didn't go or something, because it keeps on like one of the arguments that people make is like, oh, we didn't go to the moon because on the moon the footage shows no stars, and like, that's not a good argument. It's just because of light exposure. I mean, I was on a plane not long ago, and I saw the best thing ever. It was at night, no curvature obviously, but at night, I saw the Milky Way strip. It was over the Atlantic Ocean. It was beautiful. And I managed to take a picture, but it didn't work, so I had to use like an exposure. And it got something. It wasn't that good, though.
Yeah, well, the great thing is, if you're a person who has dreams of going where no man has gone before, it's not too late for you. And in fact, discarding the failed heliocentric, cultic, religious model of the globe can actually allow you to have a better chance of going where no man has ever gone before, because For example, I mean, just one tiny thing you could do that no one would argue about is exploring the oceans that are vastly unexplored and need much more exploration, or parts of the Grand Canyon no one's gone to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, many mountainous areas that are still unexplored. But regardless of all of that, have you ever seen The Truman Show?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so do you remember the scene in the classroom? Because, he's trapped in a little town where he's being filmed for other people's entertainment and profit. Do you remember the part in the classroom where he raises his hand and says he wants to be an explorer, and then the teacher kind of yells at him, and I think she snaps up the map and says, "Everything's already been explored. There's nothing left to explore. There's nothing left to do." Do you remember that part? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, so the whole point of that movie is, right, they're trying to control him for their own profit, entertainment, and advertising dollars. And one of the ways they do that is by making him think there's nothing outside of their little fake sky, outside of their fake ocean. And, so what if there are things outside of the boundaries that they told you? They keep you on a globe, even though they say, oh, you could one day, if you're a wonderful and very smart astronaut like Don Pettit, you could go to the moon. But you probably can't, right? Because a very small number of people go there. But what if we weren't limited to just a ball? What if we didn't know what the limits of this land were? What if, as is actually the case, the Antarctic Treaty prevented you from legally traveling past the 66 parallel south, and that there's vast unexplored lands that we're not allowed to go to? So you could still reach your dream of going to somewhere where no man has gone before.
Yeah, that's fine.
You don't have to limit your imagination. You don't have to limit your imagination just because you're, their little space dreams, that they give you, which are fake, false, and which even in their paradigm,
even
a tiny number of people are going to, even on their paradigm, a very small number of people are going to be able to go. And you have to have a room temperature IQ like Don Pettit. You have to be a certain level of dumb to become an astronaut. You're probably too smart.
The thing is, I did an IQ test. I don't know if it's right though, but my latest IQ test came as 130.
Oh yeah, you're way too smart to be an astronaut then. So just give up. They're never going to let you go.
The thing is, right. The thing is, right. I just think maybe even if it was a globe, we can still go places like Antarctica that haven't been explored. Like, let's say if we could get past this, whatever it is that they put up there. Like, the thing is, the Antarctic Treaty, they say that the treaty is used because that land needs to be preserved for experiment, because any kind of living there, building cities there, let's say if you could, it will just ruin the whole thing about the experiments that are taking place, because they need
because they care so much about the environment. Yeah, just like they preserve the rainforest, and just like they got rid of all plastics.
Just other experiments.
And, all the they care so much about the environment. That's right. Keep telling yourself that.
I'm not telling myself that.
Well, you just said it. You just recited the propaganda. I mean, that's from the 1990s. They started the Antarctic Treaty back in the 40s and 50s. Then they added in the 1990s the environmental protocols, of which propaganda you just recited, to pretend like they were keeping people out of there because they cared about the environment. That's the reason. I'm sorry. It's hard for me not to have a sarcastic tone when I start talking about that, because it's so absurd. It's just like when your hotel maid tells you she's not going to wash your sheets because she cares so much about the environment. Please, give me a break. Do not be that naive.
I'm not saying that they're about the environment. I think they're just I think they're conducting experiments for other reasons, not for that.
So you think they're conducting secret experiments there that they don't want you to mess with?
Think not every experiment that goes on in Antarctica has to be to protect the environment. It could be about something completely different, like meteorological stuff. For example, in the snow when they need the snow to be fresh, non-polluted area of Antarctica, the region, non-polluted kind of stuff. And because the rest of the world is polluted and stuff, so they need to use it as a fresh sheet to conduct experiments and to, record things.
You can believe whatever you wish. It's very unusual that these supposed world
I just want to know
governments
if
that
that's what you know as well.
I know nothing. Have I been to Antarctica? No, I have not.
No, about the treaty and why it is there in the first place.
I just use common sense. I mean, I don't need to speculate a ton about that because I've already seen Chicago from across Lake Michigan at a distance of 55 miles, which would be impossible on a sphere of a radius of 3,959 miles. The entire skyline of the city of Chicago would be hidden behind the alleged curve if it
But would
existed.
it be better to have
I
more light?
first saw the Chicago skyline when I was 12 years old with the naked eye, and I've still seen it many other times since then, and everyone sees it every summer. Thousands of people see the Chicago skyline across Lake Michigan when they should not be seeing said skyline.
That's fine.
So I don't need to worry about Antarctica. Why do I care what's happening in Antarctica when I can just go right down the road and observe that the claimed
Because I thought you said it'd be good to be
has
like an
been
explorer, right?
mathematically disproven? No, I said that for you. I mean, you want to explore, although don't try to go past there because, we can post you article after article about sailors who have, made unauthorized trips past the 66th parallel south and they get arrested. One guy died. I don't recommend going down there. I'm just saying, in the future, there's possibility that things could change. I'm not counting on it, but you might be younger than me. Maybe you have a better chance. You might get to actually freely explore the world. That would be cool. The way people think they can and they actually can't, be cool.
Okay.
But why they're keeping people from going down there, I mean, and if you want to believe their reasons, if you want to believe that 50 plus nations who are supposedly at war just amazingly agree on this one thing, which is don't let anybody travel in the Southern Ocean because they care about, the snow or whatever. Yeah, I'm okay. Like, if you'd like to believe that, you can keep believing that. I'm not going to stop you. People can believe whatever they want. You can keep believing in the globe. That's fine. Just at least realize that, mathematics and geometry are not on your side. It's just like DJ very patiently explained to you, it's a cultic belief that has been passed on by tradition, started by the ancient Greeks, and which, for whatever reason, the mainstream culture has not allowed themselves to revisit this mistake. But there's no body of science. There's no team of mathematicians running around. There's no team around. There's no, even if you search what experiment upholds the globe, you will find myths and stories, many of them from thousands of years ago, because who do you think actually studies the curvature and goes out and proves and documents it besides these inconsistent images like what DJ was just showing you? Yeah, they go out and they say they take pictures of them with widely varying levels of curvature, widely varying amount of continents shown for the given level of curvature, completely inconsistent and non-verifiable images. They'll take pictures for you all day long, but they have no evidence for you. They just have stories for you. Pictures on a screen like a science fiction movie. That's what they got for you. That's it. And don't ever think it's anything more than that. It's a story, it's entertainment, and it's actually, has its origins in a religion, in a belief and a faith, nothing to do with science or math.
But the thing is, this science, mathematics, and geometry has helped us build buildings, roads, cars, and we've been successful as a human race.
Okay, so we have built buildings, cars, and roads using a globe. Could you please, in the side chat there, you just said that. You just said that.
I didn't say that.
I said there's no math or science backing up the globe, and you said we've used math. Yes, I agree. We have used math on a flat Earth to build roads and buildings, and never is curvature in reality. Curvature is not taken into account when it should be. When it should be, if we were.
I'm talking about when you said that there's occultic origins in this math and geometry. I'm saying we use that same stuff to be successful as a human race.
Oh, you're not going to get an argument from me there. If Pythagoras had stopped with the Pythagorean theorem, I mean, that's cool. Like, yeah, a squared plus b squared equals c squared in a right triangle. That's useful. Yeah, and all trigonometry that stemmed from that, for sure. Yeah, if these... I mean, I'm not saying the people who came up with this were dumb. I mean, if it's true, which I don't have that verified, that this individual Pythagoras, 1 existed, 2 came up with the Pythagorean theorem, and 3 started his globe call. I mean, if all those things are true, like, people can be right about some things and wrong about other things, or they can be right about certain things and give people half-truths in order to maintain their control over a civilization, because they recognize that they've been gifted with an intellect that the masses don't have, and they can use that intellect to dominate people. And if they come up with a worldview that will be more likely to keep those people under control, by all means, they can also use their God-given intellect to dominate, control, and exploit those people. No doubt. No argument here.
Okay.
I mean, there's no virtue in knowing that the earth is flat or a globe, or, depending on why people are promoting various agendas. They can obviously promote the globe without having any nefarious purpose. I mean, it's just a tradition that they're passing down. Like I was explaining earlier, I passed down the tradition before my physics professor challenged us to, find a way to challenge various misconceptions, which is a common thing that is done in science education, especially at the higher levels, just breaking down misconceptions, interviewing students to find out. Sometimes their intuitive view of the world is correct, sometimes it's incorrect. If I hadn't been challenged by that teacher, that professor, I wouldn't have looked into the flat earth at that time, because I would have assumed, like most people do, that it actually was a fact, because there's no time in my education or anyone else's education where in standard, schools and universities where you go out and measure the curve of the earth. You don't do that.
Okay.
So I just assumed other people did it. It wasn't until I tried to find who these people were that I discovered they don't exist.
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't exist?
People who've measured curvature of the earth.
Yeah, but who? Oh, never mind. I thought you meant like a specific person that was written down. That's, I don't know.
Yeah, I just mean it isn't the specialty of anyone. They all just are going on the assumption. They're not necessarily being nefarious and passing on this tradition. They just assume. I mean, they have faith in the authorities, that this has been verified and measured, and in reality it has not been. And it's very simple for any person with a minimum or no equipment to go out and see it for themselves.
You do agree, right, that the laser experiments only disprove the measurements of the globe, correct? It doesn't actually prove the Earth is flat, right?
Well, that is, I mean, yeah, the term flat Earth is something that we've inherited. I don't know when that was first put out as being the way to challenge the globe. If I were on that committee, I would not have chosen that term. There's the Flat Earth Society, which is clearly a parody joke organization, not serious. I mean, them or people associated with them are the ones who came up with that, probably because it does confuse people. Yeah. People who are here challenging the globe model are here to show the mathematical counterexamples that disprove a faulty mathematical conjecture, which is the Earth being a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles. That's
Well, maybe
it.
it might not be 3,000.
So,
It could be like 2 million. It could be even bigger than that. It could just be a bigger globe than it is that's already been measured and said, oh, this is how big it is. What if it's not flat? The laser experiments disprove the measurements of the globe that we already have, but the globe is it still remains a globe. It's just 1,000 billion times bigger.
you can think that, but you cannot then also, you can't do that and maintain the paradigm that's been perpetuated here, that like everything their worldview isn't just the radius. We're just doing that because that is the most precise and easiest way to disprove their claims, is to show their radius is not even close to being right. But their whole fairy tale science fiction space
Can my
religion
radius be 2 million?
includes distances based on that radius, and includes us being this planet floating through space. I mean, that's the other thing. We don't think we're on a planet at all for other reasons. I mean, we also reject the notion of the vacuum or near vacuum of outer space existing right next to our atmosphere. We reject that as being possible. So we do reject the whole paradigm, but it in terms of what we do here, just disproving the radius, I mean, it's very easy to do, but it's not accepted, even though it's can be demonstrated mathematically thousands of times over, all over the world, and has been demonstrated by independent researchers who have carefully documented their work, and you could go out and do it for yourself. So, but just that one thing is pretty much full time. Like, some people do go off into these other areas talking about these other things, but we just tend to hammer that because it is so obvious, and it is so easily shown, and it has been shown so many times, and anyone who cared could go and see it for themselves.
Yeah.
But one thing we can't do is to go and travel freely to see where is the outer limit of this realm. Then we don't need to do that. Because their paradigm and their pseudo-scientific religion of the globe doesn't say, maybe it's about this far, or maybe it's bigger.
Sorry to interrupt. Just give me 1 second. Sorry to interrupt. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. DJ posted something. Yeah. DJ, did you hear what I said before? Like I said, like what if on behalf of the laser experiments to disprove the current globe measurements. But what if those experiments were right, the globe measurements were wrong, and actually it's still a globe, but it's actually 1 billion trillion times bigger? That's what I was just saying.
Yeah. No, I get you. Right. So yeah, no, that's that could be the case, right? But we could just use any shape at that point, right? Could be a chicken.
Yeah,
shape.
exactly.
The chicken's so big. Yeah, and once again, there's no evidence for that. And then how long would it take to get from pole to pole or something? All of the
I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask. The thing is, those two things. When you're traveling in a straight line from one country to the other, you end up in like a big circle, right? And how is it possible? If you was to sail from one end to the other or fly from one end to the other, DJ. I wanted to see your thoughts on the Antarctic Treaty as well. Because I think you heard me talking about how it was like just to keep it a clean space for experiments to not be interfered with by human waste and trash and pollution. I mean, if you want to type that out, it's fine, but I don't know if you're busy. But yeah, I'm going to save this.
I was talking. I was like, why does he keep interrupting me? And then I noticed I was on mute.
Oh.
Yeah, it's my bad. Yeah, I just forgot to unmute myself. It's getting late. My brain's not working. But yeah, with the Antarctic Treaty, there's a lot of mystery when it comes to Antarctica. I'm not claiming that Antarctica is a big giant ice wall that surrounds the entire world ocean. No, like that. It could be a continent. Could be a continent, right? But what we know is Admiral Byrd went there in the 40s and 50s, Operation High Jump. He came back. He said that there's more land beyond the South Pole, bigger than America, that doesn't have ice, and it has all these resources and blah, blah, blah. And then a few years later, they came up with the Antarctic Treaty. All the countries that are at war signed the treaty, and it's still valid until, way into the future. There's a lot of mystery when it comes to Antarctica. So you can't freely go and explore past a certain point, whatever the reason may be. It's just, you just can't do it regardless.
But
and
we
yeah,
could like
there's a
go
lot of
with water them and just like fire rockets into the people that are protecting the Antarctica and
yeah,
just
it's
storm
probably a
it. Like
terrible idea.
1 million people
Yeah.
just storm Antarctica, like they tried to do
Well, they're
there
just
if you want.
yeah, but I mean, they've got like they just sink you really quickly if they wanted to, because you're in the ocean and they could track you with radar like way before you got there. But anyway, they probably wouldn't do that. They would probably just bring warships and then lock everyone up and confiscate your boats or something. Who knows? Regardless, we're not going to do that. This is the thing with the navigation, the circumnavigation. Yeah, people have done east to west circumnavigations, and east to west circumnavigations are possible on a flat Earth or a globe Earth. It's not a problem. But north to south circumnavigation would only be possible on a globe Earth. And nobody's ever done a full circumnavigation north to south, right? So if you just say you start in the north and then you go down,
north to south, yeah. They haven't done it.
yeah, and then you just keep going south, and then you keep going over Antarctica and come back up around and come back to where you started. Yeah, so thousands of people have done east to west.
Flight paths have done it.
No. The only ones that have done it, they've done pole to pole, north to south circumnavigations, which is different, right? It just means that they start at the North Pole and then they go down and then they turn around at the South Pole and come back up again. Right? That's also possible on a flat Earth. So that's the only ones people have done. They haven't done like a great circle around the Earth where they come back up around the other side.
Yeah,
which is interesting, So yeah, the only circumnavigations that have been done work just fine on a flat Earth or a globe Earth. So I'd say it's inconclusive, and it's kind of weird that nobody's done the north to south one.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it can be the case. It's a bit like how Area 51. We don't really know what goes on there. I mean,
exactly, big mystery. That's why we stick to just testing the surface. And yeah, you said something before. I did want to respond to that as well. So yeah, I would agree. The laser tests, going out, we're doing long distance observations and laser tests. We're testing the globe claims, and we're not necessarily saying this is proof that the Earth's flat, because we're not even claiming to know the shape of the Earth, right? Flat's not a shape.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's flat's level. Just it's well, even level. I mean, globers say that the globe's level as well because it's equal distance from the center or whatever. But I would say it's a topographical plane where the surface of water is flat. But this is a thing, like we already experienced the Earth as flat, and they'll just tell us that, oh, we're so small and it's so big, that's why you experience it as flat. So it's not like we have to prove that it's flat. It's already experienced and utilized as flat. When we go out and test the claim that goes against that it's flat, right, it still measures as flat. We don't find any curvature or anything like that. So we're just reinforcing what everybody already experiences. And we're testing the globe claims. It's the globe side that's claiming to know the shape and size of the Earth. And when we test for that, it's just not there.
Yeah.
So
that's
all.
Yeah. Also about the Antarctic Treaty, you know the guy that went not the treaty, the guy that went there in the 40s or 50s. Did he take any pictures of like what he found?
Yeah, there's footage, but it's kind of crappy footage.
Because obviously it's the 40s, 50s, and the guy's on a boat, and it's like the freezing cold weather. So
yeah,
I mean, there's 24-hour sun on Antarctica, right?
Yeah, I think there is. Did you watch the footage from Admiral Byrd when he came back from the Operation High Jump? He did an interview on TV, and that's where he spoke about all of this stuff.
I didn't see the interview, but
it's really good. I'll grab it and I'll put it in the side chat. It's well worth watching.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the 24-hour sun. Yeah, I heard like there's some flat earthers that don't believe there's a 24-hour sun, and then there was a guy that went there, and the flat earther that went there, and then he like believed in the globe after he went there, and they all went to Antarctica together. Have you seen that video?
Yeah, I've seen the video, and that look, I'll be frank, right? I'll be very honest. There's a lot of trash flat earthers out there. There's a lot of trash flat earth arguments out there, and if you go on TikTok or Facebook or X, right, or a lot of these places, you're going to run into, there's a lot of dumb globe earthers, there's a lot of dumb flat earthers, and there's a lot of bad arguments on both sides. Now, if they cherry pick someone that's dumb, like Jaren, for example, right? Nobody from 24/7 ever really liked Jaren because he got tricked on a different documentary called Behind the Curve, where they basically set him up on a mockumentary and made flat earthers look stupid. This is the same guy. Like, if you type in flat earther debunks himself, you're going to find all these videos of this same guy, Jarenism, dopey looking dude, right? Like a stoner flat earther. So he went back to the globe because he had this type of model, right? Where he took this particular map and he said, this is the flat earth map. And then he gets this little model sun and a moon and they circle around it. And based on his model, you can't have a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So he thinks, okay, well, if I go there and I see a 24-hour sun, that would debunk my model, and therefore the Earth must be a globe. Okay, bad logic. But that's what happened with him, right? The other guy that went there is much smarter than him, Austin Whitsitt, right? Very good debater, very smart guy, very high IQ guy, right? He didn't go back to the globe. And then there was some bimbo that went there, and nobody even knew who she was. So, like, I don't know what the story is with her now, what she did, but yeah, I think that there's a 24-hour sun there. I haven't been there to confirm it for myself, but if I was to speculate, I saw.
How does it work? Like 24-hour sun in the North and South Pole, and the Arctic and the Antarctica. Like, how does it work on the thing we talked about at the very beginning?
Well, the sky and the ground, right? They're not connected, obviously. So whatever happens above the ground, right? If you can validate that the ground's flat, whatever's happening above the ground is happening above a flat ground. But basically, there's two apparent points of rotation in the sky. We've got the southern point of rotation and the northern point of rotation, and it's kind of like a big vortex, right? You've got a bunch of stars that rotate around the North Star, and a bunch of stars that rotate around the southern celestial point in the sky. And it's kind of like a vortex at the equator. That happens above a surface that measures flat. It's it's very simple. We don't know exactly how the sky works. We don't know exactly what the stars are, how far are they away, that kind of thing. But this is what we all observe: two points of rotation in the sky. And they can also explain it on the globe as well, right? That's kind of where the globe
the
came
sun doesn't
from.
set there. Like, I mean, sometimes in like
same in the north though. Same in the north. Yeah, same.
It's just how does it work with the perspective thing? How is it like going around the sky instead of setting, like, from perspective?
Well, it doesn't travel far enough away from you for it to go out of your field of view, right? That dome we were talking about
north
earlier.
And south, right?
Yeah, it happens 6 months apart, right? So when it's 24-hour sun in the north, it's going to be 24 hours darkness in the south, and then vice versa.
Oh yeah, shit! I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. So we got a guy, Drace, very smart guy. He lives in Iceland, and every year he gets the 24-hour sun and 24-hour darkness. And yeah, it's just the opposite, right? The opposite of what happens in the south, right? Happens in the north. It's just a cycle, a repeating cycle.
What about the equinox? Like, is when it's the equinox, is which one you say the globe is? I forgot what you call it. I have a sun tracking app, like solar app. I track the phases of I do a lot of tracking, just for other reasons. But there's like this thing called equinox. You know what that is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know the way I think about the sky, it's kind of like a big giant clock that people have used for forever. As far as we can validate, they've used it. That's why we have years, because the sun's cycle resets every 365 days, and that's why we have a year. And then the moon, right? Its cycle resets every 28 days, and that's why we have months. And the sky is just like a big clock, and everything resets. I think that the sky is moving, right? Everything in the sky is moving in cycles, just like we all experience. And if we're on a globe, right? Just say we're on a globe and we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, and then we're also orbiting around the sun at 66,000 miles per hour, and then we're also chasing the sun at the same time at 480,000 miles per hour, and then there's all of these other movements in between. right? So we're moving at like 1.5 million miles per hour through the universe, right? 1.5 million miles every single hour of your life. We're shooting through the universe into a different place in the universe, never to return to the same place where we started. But the sky just has perfect repeating cycles, right? For all verifiable history, they don't change. Right, Polaris is always in the center, at the above the North Pole, and that kind of thing. So I think it makes more sense that the sky's moving in cycles and the Earth's stationary, rather than thinking we're in this like big ball that's like flying through space, a space vacuum.
So
it just makes more sense to me.
I've seen these flat Earth models. I know you don't have a model, so I don't know actually, but I've seen these flat Earth models where the sun is going around in circles around a disk plane, and then it goes around Antarctica. But the model shows it's impossible to have a 24 hours in Antarctica because it's good around the edges.
Yeah, exactly.
How do we reconcile it with what we talked about? I just want to see.
Yeah, so that exactly, and that's kind of like the model that this Jeranism guy had. And I'll see if I can find a picture of it really quickly. But
because I want to see some other models. I've just been seeing the same thing over and over. It's getting boring.
So what that is, unfortunately, if you go on TikTok or something or Instagram, or X, and you type in flat Earth, it's just this same model, and everyone's just parroting what they see with this model.
Yeah.
And you know what that is, right? That's actually a globe map. Well, it's not even a globe map, right? What it is a projection of the celestial coordinate system that's based off the imaginary way that we mapped out the sky, right? The conceptual celestial sphere that's purely imaginary, right? We imagine it to be a big giant sphere, and we use that for a coordinate system because it's a very, very smart way of mapping out the sky. So we know exactly what the sky is going to be doing, what the angle to certain stars are, where the ground position is at a certain time of a certain star. So we have this spherical coordinate system, and then they basically put that into different map projections, right? So they'll stretch it out, and that round flat Earth model that you're talking about, that's actually a globe, like a spherical coordinate system projection, where they're just getting the celestial sphere, and then they basically stretch it out below the equator. So
wait, hold on that thought. I had something before. It was, oh shit, it was so good. It was basically the entire map of the Earth, and it was folded out into triangle shapes, and Antarctica just looked like a continent out in the ocean. I don't know if I have it. Earth map unfolded in triangles.
I'm very impressed with you, Sleep FM, in case I didn't get a chance to say that before you go, like that you're actually willing to have like a serious conversation about it. You've got ideas, you bring up stuff. You actually look up the stuff that you brought up and like go and find it instead of just vaguely referencing. It's amazing. He's found it.
DJ found it. I found it. Look, this is it. Into your DMs. I'm going to send it into your DMs. Let me add you. This is the thing I've been talking about. Like, I've been questioning for a long time, but it's something. Look at this. Mm-hmm. Can you see it? How Antarctica's just like sitting out there, but if you fill all that space in with ocean, it will just look like I don't know. Let me see if there's other ones.
Oh yeah, these are different map. So these are different map projections of the celestial coordinate system. So there's actually hundreds of these, and they actually have like different purposes. Different maps have different uses, but I forget the name of this one that you posted. Oh, look, I'll take a screenshot of the two you posted.
Yeah, there's this one. You can see as Antarctica is just a continent, like you said.
Do you not have perms to post in the side chat?
No, but I wish I could, because this is like this.
Hold on a second. I'll give you that role. Just a second.
Because it gets rid of the disk idea, and it helps like the flat Earth idea a bit more, or like any kind of.
So you got media perms now, so you can post in the side chat. But these are different projections of the same coordinate system that's based off the sky, based off the celestial sphere. I've actually got a I don't know if anyone else has got it. It's basically a big giant list of all of the different coordinate systems. I saw it.
Like you're looking down at the plane. from above. Let's say like hypothetically like no globe, but it's just this what we're living on. You go up, 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 and then you just look down. You see this instead of a globe. I was just thinking like in the flat Earth model, or the flat Earth idea. Sorry, this would be a bit more plausible to use and probably even the best.
Yeah, look, there's all sorts of different projections that we can use, but all of these projections are based off the latitude, longitude coordinate system.
Yeah, you can see it right here. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all based off the celestial sphere, and it probably doesn't match reality. But I do have to go.
Okay.
And appreciate the convo, and catch you next time.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, if we filled that in with some ocean, like if someone fills the black spaces with like the same blue color, like the ocean color, we might see like, you might get an idea of like this flat Earth, and then Antarctica is just out there, pretty far from like a lot of stuff, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to actually think about these things and question what you've been told and find out what there's actually evidence for, that is a very good sign. Especially that, I mean, it probably is. I do believe what you told me about your IQ test results because, there's a lot of people, and I understand why it is. It's people who, I don't know, they have trouble thinking for themselves. They need to just believe in authority blindly, blah, blah, blah. They get like really upset, angry, emotionally disturbed. Like, they've believed the propaganda that flat earthers are retards. So they come in here and they can't, like, they're incapable of having a discussion with us. Like you
That's
seem like a
condescending.
person. Yeah. You seem like a person who understands, like, you can talk to somebody about something without having to agree with them or go over. Like, we are definitely not people who, are trying to like convince people to our side. It doesn't really
Yeah.
do us any good. That we don't need people on our side. We're just trying to give people information, but people who, let's say people who are reduced to only following authority because for whatever reason they haven't trained their minds to make up their own decisions, or they're too afraid to take responsibility for their own brain and life. They assume that other people are like that too, right? So they don't even get the concept that you could actually go out in the world, gather evidence, and make decisions based on your own knowledge, experience, and, reasoning. Like, there's too many people that, I guess, there's always been people like that, but there's more people like that today who are like that. They're incapable of using rational thought, but they
Yeah.
are willing to go out there, I guess, just because of the forums that are available, over the internet. Just go out there and just start like screaming at other people, and just assume that they're right when they have no evidence to back up their position. It's just very bizarre. It's a weird phenomenon that we see over and over. So that's why I'm complimenting you that you're actually able to have an intellectual discussion. It's refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, I do like questioning things about like talking with you guys. I mean, it's interesting because it's boring to see the same sky every day and just think, oh yeah, it's this or it's that. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to be like those other guys that come in and just say, oh, you're this, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. I just want to have a look at, I mean, I posted more of these in the side chat. Here's like the diamond prism Earth, and then there's the oblong Earth, and then there's that. I just want to make one. I just want to I want to make my own model of a flat plane Earth, and I want to try and do something where the sun can actually work the same way we see it in the globe way. And I thought like using one of these unfolded triangle maps is a start, but we'd have to see because we have to understand many ways on like how the sun is working if we want to use this flat Earth kind of idea. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Like, and maybe in your lifetime, you'll see a time when we'll have another renaissance in thought, particularly in science, math, exploration, where people could actually be free to, do what we did do when we were building the civilization, which was to use rational thought and the scientific method and to discard faulty ideas when they were disproven. So, but that's not what's happening. I mean, not just in this realm, but I'm sure you're familiar in many realms of so-called academic thought. People are, politically motivated, financially motivated. They blackball people who don't go along with the status quo, so on and so forth. I mean, we don't live in an era where there's a free and open exchange of academic ideas, even though there's a pretense of it. I mean, it's better than some places and sometimes, right? I mean, it's probably better than North Korea. I don't know. But, still, we could do better, no doubt. So that'd be cool. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, I mean, I personally, some people, you'll find a lot of people in the flat earth community that are really into like, proposing other models and ideas. Like, I don't personally do that just because, like I said, like I just find it a full-time job just showing that the heliocentric model is wrong, even though it shouldn't take that long to discard a faulty model. I mean, that's the first thing you have to do, right? That's how we used to progress in thought was if a model didn't predict reality, we'd get rid of it and then you might make a new one. But the thing with the Earth is we don't really need a model necessarily. I mean, it's kind of unrealistic to think we could come up with one model that would explain everything. I mean,
that's what I'm trying to do is one model that explains everything.
Guys, I can do a beatbox for you.
What'd you say, Antonio? Pardon?
A beatbox, please. It's 1 minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
In 1 minute, he's going to do what?
Yeah.
Beatbox.
Beatbox. Let me. Sorry.